You've probably heard the saying before that the best camera is the one you have with you. Well, what if that camera is on your face? Welcome to the future. I've been shooting this camera built into my sunglasses for over 6 months now, and it's actually surprising how good it is for photography in some ways. It's also shockingly bad in other ways, and you 100% should not buy one. I'll explain that later. But for now, let's talk about how this photographer feels about face cameras. Smart glasses are loosely defined as glasses with some electronic gizmos attached to them, like screens, speakers, computers, and yes, cameras. These glasses in particular are the Meta Ray-Ban glasses, and you've probably already seen them around because I'm like 2 years late talking about them. And I paid a pretty penny for this pair. This is $300, and that's without prescription lenses, which I wear glasses, so I had to pay for those too. Whew, not cheap. So as a photographer who clearly has better cameras, why did I buy them? Well, because I've been weirdly obsessed with this idea of point of view on your face cameras ever since playing with the original Google Glass prototype 15 years ago. Spec-wise, these particular glasses have a 12 megapixel camera with a wide angle lens that's approximately 21 millimeters in equivalent focal length. The sensor size isn't publicized anywhere, and I couldn't find a straight answer, but you know it's got to be tiny to fit in here. And that sensor's in vertical format, because these are probably meant more for TikToks than serious photography, but they are in a more squarish 3:4 ratio, not a 9:16 ratio, so you can kind of crop and play with that a bit later. The camera quality is like taking a step back several generations in smartphone camera tech, and it shows especially in videos that are limited to 1440p. Now you can see the video quality directly off the glasses here, as well as you're hearing the audio off of the glasses. Video clips are limited to just 3 minutes in length, but that's actually up from the original 1 minute that they were originally shipped with before a software update. But that's still fine for short clips like this, where I only need 60 seconds to tell you about the sponsor of this video, Bai, while I show you the video quality and unbox some things I got from Japan on Bai recently. So Bai is a proxy service that allows you to shop local Japanese listings, and it takes those listings in Japan, ships them to Bai's warehouse, and then ships them to wherever you are in the world. Basically giving you access to like Facebook Marketplace for Japan, where you wouldn't otherwise have access to that. So this is the Kyocera Samurai 1300 DG. It's a digicam that looks like a camcorder and comes in this amazing paint job that changes with the light. Very cool. I've been shopping Bai for years to pick up cool cameras like these, oddities like this, rare cameras, Japanese only cameras. A few tips: you should check out the yen conversion rate with whatever country you're coming from. Make sure you check for like duties and tariffs and things like that that might apply shipping to whatever country you're in. Remember that you're going to be paying for shipping twice, once to Bai's warehouse and then from Bai to your house. It's always really affordable, but just double check the prices on that. And then make sure to always check the return policy of whatever you're buying, because there probably isn't one for electronics. I've never had a problem, but you should keep that in mind. Check out my link in the description to save 10% on your first purchase on Bai, and thanks for Bai for sponsoring this video. But that bad quality hasn't stopped me from using the clips, and I've actually thrown them into my videos this year. If you've watched any of my videos in the last 6 months, you've probably seen footage from these glasses. And yeah, it's not great, but we'll get to why later. I think that doesn't really matter. And of course, this wouldn't be a snappiness video if I didn't invent something completely pointless, like this magnetic lens adapter for these glasses, which works by using these cheap smartphone accessory lenses I bought for $5 used. It just gives the glasses a couple of different focal lengths, like fisheye, more telephoto, even more wide angle, a macro lens. And if I've said anything yet that makes you want to pull up another window and go ahead and purchase these, please wait till the end of this video where I try to convince you not to. But once again, the theme of this video is the best camera is the one you have with you. And since I legally can't drive without glasses on anyway, I figured these would always be with me and would be a really interesting experience. So let me tell you about how that went.
Oh my gosh.
I basically wanted to see if these could replace not my normal cameras, but my smartphone photography by not having to reach into my pocket and potentially miss the moment. And sometimes I don't even have my smartphone with me. There's also situations where taking a photo with a smartphone is incredibly difficult, like when you're bombing down a hill on a bike. On the glasses, you can take photos and videos by pressing a physical button up here over your right ear, or just by speaking, like this. Hey Meta, take a photo. There you go. And because the microphone is built right in the middle and is tuned to focus on your mouth, these voice commands are really reliable and work even in tough scenarios, like when you're bombing down a hill on a bike. And that hands-free nature of taking a photo of whatever you're already looking at any given moment is actually really nice. I was able to use this anywhere from when I was biking on rough terrain, and I don't want to take my hands off the handlebars, or when I'm inside my bee suit And it's kind of hard to operate a camera anyway with the gloves and everything, and I'm trying to move fast and keep the bees happy. Unfortunately, there is a bit of a delay when you ask the question to when the photo is actually being taken or the video is starting. So you either have to really anticipate the moment or just hold still. But just the nature of this form factor already gives it a huge advantage over any other camera I've ever owned. And that is that your shots are already pre-composed, ready to go whenever you need them, thanks to this advanced multi-tilt adjustment head. Okay, sorry, that was a bad joke. Pressing the physical button on the glasses means there is less of a delay, but there's still a second or so delay from pressing the button to when a photo is taken, which is really annoying, and I wish that was instantaneous. Okay, but either way, when you take a photo or a video, you'll see a little light show up here. And that's for ethical reasons, or so they say. So let's address that elephant in the room, which is, isn't it kind of creepy to have a camera on your face at all times? Well, I think that's at least partly why they look so darn ugly. These are still relatively new products, and I can't get anywhere without somebody saying, hey, are those Meta glasses? So people are recognizing them, and maybe that's from the advertising campaign, but they're also just really recognizable. And they didn't have to be. They could make this way more sneaky. And there's whole debates about this and whether it even matters because of all the other devices that already film with no indication, like your smartphone. But think of the transition we had to go through as a society with smartphones, and all of a sudden you had cameras everywhere. And it's like, what situations is it appropriate to Snapchat and what is it not? My students still Snapchat me in class. I totally know that's what you're doing. Who else holds up their phone like this and then puts it down and smirks? I just hope they're good Snapchats. So I actually personally like that they have a light there, so it's a little bit more obvious to people that something is going on. Well, you might say they might just cover up the light then, but Meta's actually developed some interesting ways to prevent that from happening, and it will not take a picture if the light is covered. There's some even more hacky ways around this, which I won't explain, but you can Google. But anyway, they try to make it harder. But beyond privacy and what is law or what is ethical, I think it's just a courtesy thing. Like, people do not want to be filmed all the time. I don't want to be filmed all the time. If I'm in a more intimate scenario with family and friends, I don't necessarily want to be filmed and then that to be posted online. Heck, I wouldn't even walk into a public restroom with these on because I felt so bad if anybody else would feel bad. I just didn't want them, even if they didn't say anything, I just didn't want them to feel awkward that I was wearing them. Anyway, I'm curious what you think about that, the privacy and ethics of it all. I think that's going to be really interesting in the next couple of years. But now let's talk about actually using them for photography, because it's actually a little bit of a game changer. Okay, let me give you some practical scenarios. The first really helpful situation that these glasses do that other cameras don't do for me is that you can document something while remaining completely in the moment. From camcorders to video cameras and smartphones, I've never used anything that is more distraction-free from filming than these glasses. Many times I turn it on and I completely forget I'm recording until I hear the 3-minute limit beep go off and I need to start a new recording. One of my favorite things is capturing candid moments with my kids with these glasses, who know about the glasses, how they work, they know it's recording, I'll even tell them I'm recording, but they still end up acting way more naturally than when I pull up a smartphone or a camera in their face. And other parents are gonna know what I'm talking about. And yeah, the video quality isn't great, but it's decent, it's good enough. I don't need my memories in 4K. I just need my memories. And the second really helpful scenario I found is just how many more things you can film when you have both your hands free. Smartphones are great for candid moments, but then one of your hands is occupied. With these, I can work or play or go about whatever I'm doing totally normally. And I never realized how many things I wasn't capturing with my smartphone because I needed both of my hands until I started wearing these glasses. Now, you can do this with an action camera strapped to your head or your chest, but then there's some extra setup involved and you got this big thing hanging on you. And I have loved taking photos while riding around on my bike. I can see something interesting off to the side and take a quick photo without even stopping. And I've used this to capture some interesting scenes, like racing home from the storm that was about to hit, and also to scout out new locations that I could go back and visit with my dedicated cameras. And I also feel like the image quality here is good enough for fun photos and even more. Certainly, as you can see, they have that really HDR smartphone look going on, but they're totally usable, and it's the ease of use that we're after here. And then another helpful scenario that I cannot stress enough is that, like a smartphone, these are always with you. But unlike a smartphone, they are always ready to go, whereas a smartphone is in your pocket. That seems like a little change. I mentioned it earlier, but that is huge. There are so many moments I captured in these last 6 months that I would have never gotten if I had to take that extra second or two to pull my phone out of my pocket and get it to the camera app and press record. For me and my lifestyle, it's the biking and parenting examples that are the biggest for me. But think about anything you've ever missed, any moment you've ever missed from having to pull the smartphone out of your pocket. That is basically gone now when it's on your face. Okay, as you can probably tell, I really actually love these glasses. I love using them. They work really well. I didn't even talk about the built-in speakers. Those work well, taking calls, listening to music. All of that works really well. But this is the important part of the video where I need to talk you out of buying them, or at least make you aware of the negatives of these Meta glasses in particular, but then also other glasses, so that you're aware of what you're doing before you make a purchase. And there's some big things here. The first one I mentioned is the price. These are $300 for something that will be outdated in just a year. The tech is moving so fast. You are way better off just waiting until some things come together a little bit better and then spending the money. Hopefully things get cheaper then as well. And the second reason is huge and drives me crazy, and it's that at least with these Meta glasses, they can only be used with the app. Now you can take photos and videos without any app connection. I'm out in the boonies riding my bike, that works. But to get the photos and videos off of the glasses onto your phone, you have to use the app. You have to make a Meta account. These are all terrible things. These glasses and some others are also impossible to repair. You can look up videos of them being torn apart. So they will break, they will be thrown away, they will be e-waste, and that just makes me cry. And that brings me to the next important point, which is battery life. Battery life is not great on these things. So if you're just listening to music, you might get around 4 hours. If you're taking video, you're not going to get very long at all. Thankfully, they charge really simply and easily in this proprietary charging port. Speaking about e-waste, it's all very convenient when it works. It's just that we know it's not going to work. But that battery is also not at all replaceable. So when it starts not holding a charge anymore, another reason to throw away the glasses. But please, somebody, some company out there, make these with a camera because I love them. But just make them with less proprietary stuff, make them repairable. They don't even have to look that good. I guess they should look good, and that would be better. My last couple of videos have been kind of different, and I get that. Thanks for sticking along with me as I talk about things that I am personally just interested in the photography space. But don't worry, I still love old cameras. So we're gonna see some more old camera stuff. I got some more builds I'm doing as well. Thanks for sticking around. I hope you found this interesting. Let me know if you didn't, or if you did. And shoot whatever camera you have fun doing it. Until next time, as always, happy snapping.